welcome back to my channel. I am Poonam Tomar once again in front of you with a new topic, the portrait of a lady. Students, today we will read first chapter of Hornbill, the portrait of a lady. This is written by Khushwant Singh. So first of all we will know about Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh was one of the best known Indian writers. He was born in the year 1915 in Hadali. Now this place is in Pakistan. He died on 20th March 2014. He is most famous for his historical novel Train to Pakistan. Now we will do introduction of the chapter. The Portrait of a Lady is an autobiography by Khushwant Singh. It is a perception of Khushwant Singh of his grandmother through his own eyes. He recalls his grandmother as an eternally old person. According to the author, she was an extremely religious lady. It was difficult for him to believe that once she too was young and pretty like other women. Dear students, today we will do main points of the chapter. As the story begins with writer's grandmother who had been old and wrinkled for 20 years. So it was hard to believe for the author that once she had been young and pretty. His grandfather's portrait hung in the drawing room. He did not look sort of that person who would have wife and children. He looked at least 100 years old, who should have lots of grandchildren. Again in the next paragraph, author remembers how his grandmother used to hobble in the house and she wore spotless white sari. The grandmother was short, fat and slightly bent. When grandmother moved, her one hand rested on her waist to balance her stool. She held a rosary in the other hand. She was always telling the weeds. Her silver lock scattered over her face. Her lips constantly moved. She always prayed God by her. Here, she was the picture of peace and contentment. Author and his grandmother were good friends. Here in these main points, author describes his next phase of life, when his parents had to go to the city. Author's parents had to left author with her grandmother in the village when they had to settle in the city. Author's grandmother took care of author in a very proper way. She used to wake him up in the morning. She got him ready for school. During that time, she sang her prayer constantly in an unchanging way. She gave a thick steel chapati with butter and sugar spread on it to the author in breakfast. She used to give some chapatis to the village dogs also. Grandmother always went to school with the author as his school was attached to the temple. Author's parents sent for them in the city when they settled properly. This was the turning point in their friendship. There they shared same room, but now grandmother could not go to school with the author as he went to school in a motor bus. Now author was admitted in an English school and grandmother didn't like these schools. She didn't like science and music should be taught in the school. Actually, she thought that music was only for those persons who are prostitute, not for the general. This is the next turning point in their friendship. Years rolled away, the grandmother and his grandson saw less of each other. Actually, grandmother hated English and science. She felt sad by thinking that there was no teaching about God. The writer went to university, that's why he was given his own room. The common link of their friendship, which was said, that was also broken. Grandmother accepted her loneliness. She made herself busy in spinning the wheel. sunrise to sunset, she used to sit with her spinning wheel. That time she recited her prayers and did nothing. After that, what happened? Grandmother relaxed in the afternoon when she fed sparrows. This was her happiest moment, and hundreds of sparrows collected around her. Some came and sat on her legs and face. Then author decided to go to abroad for higher studies. His grandmother didn't feel upset. She came to leave him at the station. Author's grandmother came with author at the station to leave him for abroad. That time she kissed author's forehead. She didn't show any type of emotion. That time author thought that it would be the last sign of physical contact between them, as she was very old and nothing can be said about her age. But after 5 years, when author came back, his grandmother did look a day older. When she came to receive the author at the station, author didn't find any change in his grandmother. But in the evening, a change came over her. She didn't pray that day. She collected all the women of neighborhood and took an old drum and started singing and thumping the drum. She continued thump the drum for several hours. She sang of the homecoming of warriors. Singing and beating of the drum made him tired. This was the first time when she forgot to pray. The next morning she fell ill. When grandmother fell ill, she declared that her end was very near. She didn't want to waste any more time talking to her family members. She lay peacefully in bed. She continued praying and telling her beads. Then her lips stopped moving. The rosary, which was in her fingers, fell down from her lifeless fingers. Then family members came to know that she died. She was laid on the ground. Her dead body was covered with a red shroud. After the death of grandmother, Frieder and his father went away for the arrangement of customary funeral. And when they returned, they saw thousands of sparrows sat near her dead body, near the dead body of his grandmother. The corpse, which was kept in the veranda, sun rays were coming into the veranda. Thousands of sparrows sat scattered around that corpse. Author's mother threw some crumbs of bread to them, but they didn't notice. When corpse was carried away, then sparrows flew away quietly. They didn't check. Now we will discuss difficult words which are used in the text. What are those? First of all, hobbled. About word is used for author's grandmother in the text. She used to hobble in his house in white sari. It means walked like a lame. After that, fetch. That is also used. Fetch means brought. Corpse. Corpse of grandmother carried away means dead body. Blaze. Blaze means glow. Stiff. Stiff means hard. And crumbs. Crumbs means pieces. Crumbs is always used for breads. For bread, using the pieces of bread, this is not used piece. We always use crumb. Dear students, many thanks for watching my video. I hope you would like this and subscribe this. Have a nice day.